fortunate to have Bri, the International Manager of Deakin University, visiting the 3WG office today. Thank you, Bri. Good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Why choose Deakin over, if you say, I would like to say, why Melbourne first? And then win Melbourne, why choose Deakin over the rest?
Yeah, great question. So why Melbourne? I think that having that Sri Lankan diaspora is a really important and beneficial thing for students. They have that support, but also it's really important that they don't just stick to their Sri Lankan circle. You're going overseas to study, so you want to make sure that that's broad. And Melbourne is one of the most multicultural cities. We love coffee, we have an incredible food scene, and lots of festivals, so we celebrate all different cultures that they have. A daily flight back to Sri Lanka, every day direct flight, also helps for parents who are considering, getting access back to their children.
Sure.
And I think that where Deakin is, we're just a little bit outside of the city, which allows students to be able to really focus on studies whilst they're there and have that time to be able to go into the city to do enjoyable things, as well as also having a campus in Geelong. So we're not just based in Melbourne, also in Geelong, which is the second biggest city in Victoria, and it's only 1 hour outside of the city by train. Some of our big courses, engineering, you can even do nursing out there, some of our business courses, they're also housed out in that area, which is a really great campus. So why Deakin, I think, is that it is number one for student satisfaction. And whilst we've got a lot of other fantastic rankings, such as being now top 200 in the world in QS rankings, I think it is that number one student satisfaction that we're most proud of. We've held that for about 14 years now.
Okay. Yeah.
And why that's so great is that it's the students who do that survey, and they tell us that they've had an incredible time studying at Deakin, and we just get such positive feedback. And we think that Deakin really is one of Sri Lankan students' number one choice, because they just love the feeling and the friendliness of the staff, as well as of course, the quality education and the world-class facilities that we do have. Incredible sport facilities, a whole building dedicated to exercise and sports science, which we are number one in the world for. So that's a pretty big thing for a university that's only just turning 50 this year. Pretty young university.
50. That's right.
We'll be celebrating our birthday later this year. But to be number one in the world in sports science is a pretty incredible feat.
I don't want to throw any competition to that, but I see this is Australia is very competitive when it comes to sports, and if Deakin is a place where sports management has been ranked number one, I think it's something most Sri Lankans who are looking at a career in sports management, I'm sure it's something that they don't know much about. I think it's news to all of them.
Yeah, so there's...
I've been watching other universities, but for me, although we've been representing Deakin for 20+ years, this is something that is news to me, very strong, so it's something that I'd like to take back to all the students going forward. Yeah. And we as a company, we are very strongly supporting sports. I will not go into that detail, but maybe over a discussion I'll tell you what kind of things we've done for sports in this country. So that's interesting, the sports management. So since you actually answered my next question, what are the flagship programs that you could consider of Deakin that Deakin stands out from the rest? What would it be?
Yeah, so obviously exercise and sports science and sport management are two of our flagships. So that's the science and health side of sport and the business side of sport, which is incredibly big both in Australia and globally. Lots and lots of jobs in those areas. So they're two of our flagships. Education, I think we're 11th in the world for education, and that's a really important and in-demand career in Australia. So lots of students heading towards early childhood education from Sri Lanka, so do consider other education opportunities where industry loves Deakin graduates in education. And in addition to that, the nurses. So they love Deakin nurses. They've got incredible experience. We have facilities that look like you're in a hospital, so you get really great world experience. Some of the favourite courses that Sri Lankans pick obviously are engineering, some of our commerce degrees, and of course the IT degrees is where we've probably really gotten quite progressive. So we've got artificial intelligence, cyber security, and then also on the business side we do the business analytics. We also have data science and so many different fields that students can go into. I guess the one thing that we've tried to do is make sure that our courses have industry experience in them all. but also have lots of flexibility so that you can augment your degree to complement what you want to do after you finish.
I'm tempted to ask this question about AI. I think it's all about our lives around today by AI, and that's the future. Is there anything that you want to add about AI? What kind of developments that's happening in terms of AI studies? I know it's something that you cannot answer in just over a chat
I think
like
it's
this, but
fascinating. And I guess from the university's perspective, with things such as ChatGPT that we're all so familiar with and rely on now, it's looking at how we develop our curriculum now to include AI. Instead of trying to look at it in a way that we're trying to penalise students, how do we look at that in a new lens that we can actually integrate that? And then also, where does it intersect with different areas? So our AI sits within one faculty, but that interacts so heavily with, for example, medicine. So how can we interact those two things to better our research that we're doing as well? Because we are quite strong in the research field in those areas.
Brilliant. Deakin has been in Sri Lanka for a good number of years, and I've seen Deakin becoming number one as an education provider in this country. I've seen the certain brands standing strongly, and Deakin has done something very interesting. What we've seen is the success has been Deakin's presence here and the committed presence. So would you like to say what kind of initiatives that's happening right now to continue this presence in Sri Lanka?
Absolutely.
And anything that you like to tell the students going forward?
Well, you're exactly right. Sri Lanka is a very important market to us and somewhere that we're very committed to giving back as well. One thing that we do every second year, and that will be happening next year, is a big Deakin Week, where we bring in academics and staff all from Melbourne, and it's not an education week, it's just about knowledge sharing. So it's really giving back to general public, interested students, industry, and collaborating with thought leaders in Sri Lanka as well. So bringing that knowledge of Australia and Sri Lanka leaders together to share that and look at different perspectives in those areas. We also, of course, have an office here, so we've got 4 staff locally, and I think that when we're looking at students and parents who are wanting to speak to people, having the biggest office here is really supportive, knowing that they've got a local
to the country
person. That's exactly right.
Brilliant, yes.
And we regularly have our faculty coming to visit, as well as great partnerships with the likes of yourselves, very strong and long-standing partnerships. And I think that speaks volumes to the quality of both of the partners.
Yes. One last question. What's your take on Sri Lanka when you come here? What do you see? What do you see different from the global travels that you have? Something that rings your mind is the food or people? What's so special about it?
So one thing that I love here is the talks. Every time I get home and I can't just jump into a talk, that's so frustrating because it's so convenient. But really it's the people. I just think that I've been very fortunate to travel to many places, and Sri Lanka has one of the friendliest people that I've ever been able to meet. So I always look forward to coming to Sri Lanka. Been lucky to be here for a month this time, and I always try to get back pretty regularly throughout the year because the people are just incredible. And of course the brinjal moju is one of my favourites as well. So
any drink which
fresh lime soda is my favourite, and of course the king coconut.
The king coconut, wow. The king coconut, brilliant, yes. Thank you. I think looking at going forward, we look forward to seeing you more often in this market, and I'm sure you have what's your plans next? Are you planning to be in the market for the next few months? Or?
Well, I do go home tomorrow, but I'm only home for a very quick period, and then I'm coming back next month to
so you'll fall in love with
visit Sri Lanka again. So and then I'll be back again before the end of the year. So many visits before the end of the year, and I just love coming here. So hopefully I'll get to come.
It's a pleasure to hear that. It's a pleasure to hear that, and we look forward to seeing you. Thank you very much, Bri.
My pleasure.
Thank you for your time, and
really
we love all what you've told us, and we hope that we can share this with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.